Ever felt like this with your football manager game? That tactic you've created, that beautiful tactic, just stops working or doesn't work at all. Let's try and fix it. So what's the video about? Well, basically, we're going to take an FM player's tactic that's hit a blip in form, you know, the infamous FM dip, and we're going to tweak it to improve the form and get them back on track. Now, very importantly is the next point. I'm going to focus on tweaking their tactic and not getting a totally new one. So, for example, if they're playing wing backs and it's not working, we'll make a wing back tactic work. We won't quickly flip them to a 4-3-3, for example, because they want to play wing backs. They've took the time to choose the wing back tactic. That's what we'll try and get to work for them. So the first club in this new series, and it's managed by Giuseppe Cannavaro. No, it's actually my good friend JDFM. Go and check out his channel. There'll be a link in the bio there. Now, JD is a quality content maker, and he's had a great save with Atalanta in the beta, where he won the quadruple, so he knows what he's doing. He's just hit the skids here a little bit, so let's have a little look at what we can do. So he's 5th in the league, which is pretty decent if you ask me. It's not too bad. 5th in the league, 5 points off the leaders. So he's obviously hit the skids pretty recently, which we'll take a look at. But the first thing I want you to think about when you're thinking of this tactic change will be, what league are these boys in? What quality are the players? Because all that's gonna count to what tactic and formation you are best to play. Here's the start to the season. The start to the season was fantastic. Look at that. 4-4-2 diamond he's playing. 4-4-2 diamond. Won his first 4 out of 5 games, only conceded 1 goal. Lost 1, nothing to worry about. Back in the saddle with 3 undefeated. Then he's gone on a little dodgy run here. Yeah, it gets a little bit dodgy there, so you can see why he's hit a bit of an infamous FM patch where your results seem to just drop out of nowhere, don't they? Now, what I will say looking at this run is there's a few draws in there, and the defeats are only by the odd goal or 2. So whenever that happens to me, it tells me there's not a lot to panic about. You just need to make a few little tweaks. Now, what Big JD's done is he's abandoned his 4-4-2 diamond and he's gone to a 4-3-3 to try and get him out of the you know what, and it hasn't quite worked. The results haven't picked up. There's been a couple of wins, but not enough. So I guess let's have a look at the squad and see what we're working with. So here's JD's 4-4-2 diamond. The first thing I've done is I've looked at the quality of the league, and the Belarus second division is basically, if you want to think of it like an English league, you're looking at National League, League 2 at a push. So the quality of players is going to be kind of that level. So what that means is we might have to calm our expectations on some of the things that the current players can do. Now, remember what I said at the start, JD won the quadruple at Atalanta in Italy, which is no mean feat when you think of Juve, Inter, etc. So he's obviously got a style of play that he likes to play with expressive players. So you see player roles in there such as Mazzala's, complete wing backs, advanced playmakers, complete forwards. These are quite expressive player roles, and we may have to scale them back a bit because of the quality of players that we have. Player example here, this is probably the most talented player that he's got in his squad that I've seen, Paletsky, and he's on loan as well, so he's got a right battle on JD has. If you haven't checked it out, check out his Godfather save. This is what this is all about. Amazing backstory, but what a challenge he's taken on. So back to this player. This is basically his best player that I've seen attribute-wise, and you can see there's nothing there to write home about really. His biggest attribute is his determination. But if you think of the player roles that he had going on, things like complete forward and Mazzala's, this is why we'll have to scale it back a bit. Looking at this guy, for example, he's going to play up front. For me, basic roles up front. Think target man, think advanced forward, perhaps a pressing forward. He'll be covering one of them roles. Complete forward will be in the bin. So he got his early season form, them good results with this system. So there's not a lot wrong. So we're going to base it on the diamond. Like I said at the start, we want to keep it like the player has his formation set. So I don't want to change it too much. I'm going to offer him an alternative as well for some games where he may want to be a bit more attacking. But the base formation is going to be this one. This is JD's. I'll put mine next to it so you can see the differences that I've worked out. There's the two formations. You've got JD's on one side and you've got my alternative on the other. Now what you can see straight away, we'll go through it step by step. I've taken out the sweeper keeper because The keeper currently at the club is not good enough technically. His passing's poor, his first touch is poor. That's going to cause us a bit of stress. Right back, not good enough for me for a wing back, so I've just got him as a solid full back instead. The left back is good enough. He will stay as a wing back. The two central defenders, I've changed them from ball playing defenders to normal defenders. Again, they don't possess the technical abilities to play that role. They're going to put us in their shit if they try and get a bit clever. Now the anchor man, I toyed with this one. I was going to keep it there, but I've decided to push it up a little bit, a bit more aggressive, and with a ball winning midfielder. He's going to do the job for us in there. He's going to win the ball back and lay it on to our more creative players. For this to remain a bit more solid, we've kept the box-to-box midfielder in. Great, happy with that role. We've changed the Mazzala and we've brought the advanced playmaker back from that position behind the two strikers into the central midfield. So we've got a midfield three there. In behind the two strikers, we're going to have a shadow striker. Bit more aggressive. We've taken away the complete forward because we don't have the strikers with the ability to do that. We've got the advanced forward in, high up the pitch, partnered with a pressing forward just in behind him. That's what we're going with. That's the formation tweaks. Some little role changes there. The main difference we'll get onto now is the team instructions. Okay, take your attention now to the team instructions, okay? And away from my fat head. Now that's JD's formation that I've got back up on the screen. And you can see there's an awful lot of team instructions down there. An awful lot, which is fine if you've got a higher quality team. Reason being, lower quality teams in the lower leagues in England, Germany, or in this case Belarus, they're not going to have the attributes to deal with that amount of team instructions. The mentals, they're not going to take it all in. It's just going to confuse them a little bit too much. What we're going to do is we're going to strip it down a bit more basic, let them do the talking on the pitch and not to worry too much about what I'm asking them to do as well. Okay, so just like last time, I'm going to pop up on the screen the team instructions we have there and the new team instructions that I'm going to implement for the new formation. There's the two instructions. You've got JD's on the far side and mine a little bit closer. So what I've done is I've scaled back the instructions a bit because the players, as I've just said, won't be able to cope with that amount. It's just going to confuse them a little bit too much. So in possession, I've flipped that completely. I've took away the short passing and we're going more direct. We're playing for set pieces because that could be a strength, especially in lower league football. We're going to focus our play through the middle, which JD had going. We're using the overlap on the left because we have a strong left wing back, and we're keeping it fairly narrow because our formation suits fairly narrow. So basically we're taking away the be more expressive because I don't trust them, they don't have the technical abilities. We're taking away hit early crosses. We're taking away overlap on the right because he's pretty weak, so we don't want to encourage that. And we're taking away the slightly higher tempo. We're just going to keep it at standard for now. In transition, similar. I don't want them going to the centre backs because I don't trust them on the ball. We're not going to counter and counter press. I think that'll be a little bit too much at this stage. And we're not going with short kicks. We're just going to hoof it up to the target man because we've got three up there, so we want to get the ball moving and get it up there. Out of possession. Again, we're going standard width, so we're not forcing them out or forcing them in. We can play with that as the game goes on. We're keeping the pressing quite urgent. We're going to stop the short goalkeeper distribution, but that's it. We're not having a higher line of engagement. We're not having a higher defensive line because we're going to get caught over the top time and time again in these lower leagues. So we're just going to keep it a bit further back. That's what we're going with, and I hope you can see the thinking there. The theory is strip it back. Don't complicate things for these lads too much. So results, we took over here just after this game against Baranovici. We've managed to go on a 9-game undefeated run. 6 wins with 3 draws as well. So as I said at the start, there wasn't a lot wrong with his formation or his tactics or anything. Just needed a little bit of tweaking. And that's the results. It's worked out really well. As for the league, we managed to move up to 2nd place from 5th. Progress. 2 points behind 1st place, and there's about 4 games left, so he can catch them. Now the fun part about this little project we're doing here is JD just doesn't get to take the reins now and stroll on into the last 4 games of the season. No. He's then got to start where I started. So all that progress I've just made is wiped, totally gone. He's got to restart and hopefully match what we've done here. Now he's a Welshman. Is he stubborn? Will he adopt this tactic? I don't know. There's no rocket science in it. It's just probably because of me and my obsessiveness with lower league football that I just really wanted to go a bit more direct, a bit more rough and ready in your face, whereas JD's more cultured movements are probably better suited to a more technical team. Hopefully it helps him. Whether he takes it on board or not, that's entirely up to him. So that was the first one of these. I really enjoyed it. If you're having a bit of strife with your save and you fancy giving me a shot at it, let me know in the comments below or drop me a follow on Twitter. Let's have a chat. But remember, the key things are, if your tactic was working or you're just losing slightly by a goal or two, there's not a lot wrong with it. Just have a look at it, and there's just little tweaks will probably get you back on the right track.